wear the glasses? Should I not? The light's gonna get in the way of the glasses, isn't it? The cosplay calls for these glasses. This isn't regular drag we're doing. This is, YouTube drag, so. R.I.P. Greetings, my good bitches. The name's Francis. Coke Francis. I'm an editor, Twitch streamer, drag artist, and I'm here because life on the outside ain't what it used to be. On today's episode of our nationwide find out phase, we have received word of yet another casualty amongst Trump voters who are getting exactly what they voted for. And by casualty, I don't mean like he died or anything. He's just experiencing the patriotic version of finding out that the stripper doesn't actually like you. His name is Roland Biani. He is a 28-year-old immigrant from Lebanon and the owner of a small burger chain in Texas called Trump Burger, which is exactly what you think it is. And as you also probably assumed, it is yet another extension of the definitely not a cult MAGA brand extended universe that blessed us with that amazing fashion show last year. Because worshipping politicians who actively hate you and forming your entire personality around them is a totally normal and not weird thing to do. Listen, I get it. It's always the ones who are entirely uninterested that make them all the more desirable. For most, it's chasing your soulmate in real life. For me, it's trying to sleep with that hot British door and date everything. And for MAGA folks, it's thinking that their fierce, blind loyalty to a convicted felon holds more significance than who they really are. And who they really are oftentimes are the types that their daddy is trying to eliminate entirely. Because Biani, in all of his grand devotion to the president and even a long-time desire to collaborate with the man himself,
is now facing deportation. Roland Biani owns several Trump burgers around the Houston area, but immigration officials say he overstayed his visa after entering the U.S. from Lebanon in 2019.
And he was supposed to leave in February of 2024. Either he forgot or he thought that his burger restaurant would somehow grant him immunity. And his alleged super sus marriage certificate isn't doing him any favors either. Unfortunately for him, the gravy seals don't discriminate amongst all those who are even remotely tan, U.S. citizen or not. And Biani was taken into ICE custody back in May and was released a month later on a bond during his proceedings. His next hearing is in November, and it's likely he'll be getting a big old Texas boot out of here. So as you can imagine, every liberal on social media has been delightfully lapping this shit up, positively basking in this man's misfortune, and that's all fine and good. It is the definition of irony after all, and I would be lying if I said I didn't enjoy a little key bump of schadenfreude every now and again. Sometimes I hook that shit directly to my veins. But to be honest, I'm not interested in diving down another Midas touch echo chamber with yet another I told you so circle jerk. Yawn. Why do that when the real story behind Trump Burger is so much more interesting? Between partnership, betrayals, secret identities, scams, an assassination plot, and countless lawsuits. The gloating can wait, because as the title of this video suggests, the history behind Trump Burger is way crazier than you think. This wasn't in the script originally because I figured it was a given, but I'm adding this in before we continue just to make myself abundantly clear. Deportations should not be happening at all. No human being is illegal, including Roland Biani. ICE shouldn't be reformed, it should be abolished entirely. Every ICE agent should be unmasked, exposed, and put on trial for human rights violations. And by commenting on the immense irony of this situation, I am in no way condoning what ICE is doing. Anyway, just wanted to put that out there. The restaurants are currently still open, but their fate remains up in the air. On top of his ICE arrest, Biani was already facing lawsuits from unpaid debts, because it always starts with one missed bill for all the Trump merchandise, then a missed rent bill that the landlord at their Key Mall location filed a whole lawsuit over. Under that pressure, Biani probably stopped taking calls and reading his mail, and the debt just kept piling up. And that debt didn't knock at the doors of Trump Burger, it kicked the doors straight down. If Biani wanted to fight back, he should have used the sponsor of today's video, PDS Debt. PDS Debt goes beyond numbers to understand your unique financial situation. They have customized options for anybody struggling with credit cards, personal loans, collections, and medical bills. No matter what, PDS Debt takes your specific scenario into account and will help provide alternative solutions to becoming debt-free. And there's no minimum credit score required either. They're just here to help you save more, pay off your debt faster, and start putting money right back to its rightful spot in your pocket. PDS Debt is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, boasts thousands of 5-star reviews on Google, and holds a 5-star rating on Trustpilot. And that's because they've helped hundreds of thousands of people get out of debt. And if I had needed this product, PDS Debt would absolutely be my first choice. So take your shot before debt takes everything, because you're just 30 seconds away from being debt-free. You can get your free assessment and find the best option for you right now at pdsdebt.com/QueenCokeFrancis. That's pdsdebt.com/QueenCokeFrancis, pdsdebt.com/QueenCokeFrancis. And with that, back to our regularly scheduled programming. First off, I want to give a huge shout out to the Houston Chronicle for some top-notch reporting on this insane saga. They were my main info source for this video, and all of my sources can be found in the description box. So Biani grew up in Lebanon and immigrated to the US in 2019. He claims to have 20 years of hospitality and service experience, which is hella impressive for a 28-year-old. Maybe homie took junior achievement really seriously in the 3rd grade. Either way, Trump was currently in office at the time, and B&E was so impressed by how allegedly great the economy was that he decided to open an entire restaurant in honor of the guy. Maybe we were living in different US's at the time, but sure, diva, whatever you say. So in 2020, the very first Trump burger made her grand debut in Belleville, Texas, about 90 minutes from Houston. Let's check out the website description. Introducing Trump Burger. Chicken wings? American restaurant located at 233. Okay, so we're already off to a great start here. Known for its juicy and tasty burgers, soft and amazing buns, and great fries. Okay, so it is a burger joint. Trump Burger has garnered rave reviews from customers like Phil M, Ken M, Carson S, Angie G, and Mike H. Trump Burger is apparently a fan favorite at the Lumen Severed floor, offering a range of utilities such as takeout, reservations, wheelchair accessibility, and more. Wheelchair accessibility? Don't tell me you guys caught the woke mind virus too. This establishment embodies a patriotic atmosphere with lots of Trump merchandise. It sure does, buddy. The menu features the signature Trump Burger, a half-pounder with an oversized toothpick to keep it together. So even the toothpicks here are size queens. With a bustling lunch rush, Trump Burger is a must-visit for those craving delicious food and a unique dining experience. You guys know you can proofread what ChatGPT writes for you, right? Despite Trump and MAGA paraphernalia being plastered to every wall the way the Jonas Brothers once were in every teenage girl's bedroom, all are supposedly welcome at Trump Burger, regardless of political views. God, I would love to test that rule in or out of drag, whether I looked like this or like Prompto from Final Fantasy 15, because that's who I look like out of drag. They'd still have to serve up that Trump branded burger with a smile. Oh yeah, that's another thing they do. They brand all of their burgers with a big Trump on them. And I assume they've used those brands on themselves at some point. So once you manage to wade your way through the Trump shrine, because again, this is a very normal thing to do, you can finally order your branded burger. They also sell similarly themed items named after their favorite characters, like the Trump Tower Burger, which is 16 ounces of Angus beef that I'm sure will be cooked through entirely, and 4 slices of American cheese that are not working fast enough, if you catch my drift. Or the First Lady chicken sandwich, because eating chicken at a burger restaurant is for girls. Or best of all, the Biden burger. Oh my god, they're still somehow more obsessed with Biden than Trump at this point. And it's a 1-ounce beef patty that's topped with old tomatoes and their oldest buns, which are unavailable due cheating and inflation. And it's $50.99. Get it? Because at least now, under this administration, we won't even be able to afford new video games. They also have this Philly cheesesteak that's trying really hard to make you forget about the cheese or steak part of it. What? You guys are still talking about that? I was definitely surprised to see that one of their locations actually sells a vegan burger. What are you, gay? So you're probably thinking, but Francis, enough with the roasts. How's the actual food? What if it's actually good? Well, I don't anticipate ordering from Trump Burger without a woman who looks like Sam Kinison spitting on my vegan burger. The Houston Chronicle also has an in-depth review of the food at Trump Burger, where they mention, quote, "The burger is serviceable, like one a cargo short wearing dad might serve when he's cosplaying a Food Network grill master once a year for a holiday picnic." Perfect. Beautiful. 10 out of 10 description right there. But I think this review from this unbiased good egg sums it up the best.
Starting off for $13, we got the Trump Burger printed on the buns with fries. It's terrible. Nothing against Trump, but this burger sucks, okay? This burger is absolutely horrible. It tastes strange, really funky, fake as heck. Try their fries. Those are all right, but they just don't have like any salt on them. Finally, we got the First Lady chicken sandwich for also $13. And look at this chicken. It looks kind of square for some reason. No. But that's not the most unseasoned chicken I've ever had in my life. It's so bland. And it is dry. The prices aren't terrible, but overall taste-wise, I'm going like a 3 out of 10. Donald, please make your restaurant great again.
Oh yeah, and there are no actual chicken wings sold at this Chicken Wings American restaurant. Despite serving burgers that I would kill to see Gordon Ramsay throw at their trumped up walls, Biani was actually able to open 3 more locations. First, one in Flatonia, then a deluxe one in Kemah that would also be a live music venue with a dance floor, and they would serve alcohol. A perfect venue for Hetero Awesome Fest 2026 if I've ever seen one, especially with their Trump impersonator named Michael MJ Filato. According to the Houston Chronicle, the only question that MJ asks you more than how the food's tasting is whether or not you'd like to take a picture with him. MJ was also spotted lurking at the brand new Houston location, which is complete with a drive-thru. Biani has frequently expressed how much he wished Senpai would notice him and hopefully even collaborate with him someday. So far, the closest he's gotten to that is the Trump organization sending him a cease and desist back in February that he stop using the Trump name on his businesses. Except, there's just one little problem. Biani wasn't the original mastermind behind Trump Burger, and it wasn't founded in 2020. It was founded in 2016, right before Trump took office for the first time. Meet Eddie and Sue Hawa, the married couple who bought a charming little spot outside of Houston called the Belleville Cafe. Both are Muslim immigrants from Jerusalem, both got really into Americana-themed shit, and they both really love Trump despite the amount of Islamophobic rhetoric that's still spewed now more than ever. After all, they are big fans of walls. Eddie's words, not mine. About 6 months after purchasing the Belleville Cafe, Eddie and Sue decided to ditch the cute French theme and instead embrace the aggressive, ugly individualism that defines this country and feels entirely inescapable, because it is. Anyway, all that was left was a name change rebrand to, you guessed it, the Trump Cafe, serving deep fried Oreos and all, baby. However, not too long after a reality TV star started infecting every single aspect of our lives and culture, the Trump Cafe announced that it would be closed for remodeling, and Eddie and Sue would be stepping away to focus on raising a family. Oh, and by the way, their names are actually Eddie and Sue Hawa. We're gonna take a quick trip back to 1994 when Iyad Abulahawa first immigrated to the United States. Abulahawa came to the US for the same reason millions of immigrants used to, once upon a time, to achieve the American dream. And for a while, he actually did just that, making a name for himself as a restaurant/health services entrepreneur. He even Americanized his name to Eddie Hawa, which is, in my opinion, very unfortunate that our political and cultural landscape forces many immigrants to have to do that. And he was well respected in his community, always lending a helping hand to anybody who needed one. A guy who shared an office building with him even referred to him as everybody's savior. So you can only imagine their surprise when Abulahawa was arrested in 2005 on charges of Medicare fraud, offering fake flu vaccines to senior citizens that were literally just surrounded syringes filled with water. Oh, and he also gave them to about 1,100 ExxonMobil employees at a health fair. I told you this was wilder than you think. So Ablahawa was schlepped to prison where he met a physician named Ira Klein. Ha, that's good. That's good. That's his real name. There is a whole other Ira Klein rabbit hole that we do not have time to dive into today. In a nutshell, Klein was sentenced in 2007 for defrauding insurance companies out of $10 million. The FBI archives announced his resentencing in 2011 as, quote, local physician gets 11 years in prison again. And in a beautiful prison love story that's only been rivaled by I Love You, Philip Morris, Klein offered Ablahawa $250,000 to arrange the assassinations of an FBI agent, a district judge, a U.S. assistant attorney, and Klein's wife. Girl, it keeps going. Look, peddling fake vaccines was one thing, but there was no way Ablahawa could involve himself in an assassination plot. So he, of course, reported this to the authorities. They recorded his conversations with Klein. Klein's $250K buckaroos that he had given to Ablahawa went straight back to the government, and Klein pled guilty once again for conspiring to murder the prosecutor. Surely, Ablahawa should receive some kind of reward for snitching on a far worse scammer, right? Just a few crumbs of recognition, perhaps? Surely he could, still get to keep that smokin', sexy, stylin' $250K he had initially been bribed with. Right? I have helped the federal authorities in unfolding a plot against federal officials, and I would like to see you helping me out soon, he wrote in a 2007 filing. I am running out of options. Everybody in prison calls me names like snitch. I want to see the results of my effort of saving federal officials' lives. I want to be rewarded. I don't want to be ignored. He received about as much attention as Roland Biani received from his dear leader. Nonetheless, Ablahawa was released sometime before 2011, because that's the year that he met a woman named Suad Hamida, or, as we know her, Sue Hawa. They became the Eddie and Sue Hawa that we know today in 2014, and opened the Trump Cafe just a couple years later. So this brings us to the best year ever, according to Robin Tran, 2020. The cafe had been closed for remodeling, Eddie and Sue had stepped away to deal with family issues and to raise a couple of kiddos, and a new restaurant now stood in the cafe's place. Color, detailing, artistry, French influences, fake, and gay. They needed something tougher, something meaner, something, browner. Plus, fewer details, color, and artistry means easier to produce. Which is why every McDonald's looks like an H&R Block now. It's easy to produce because it is the aesthetic of fascism. And Harlan Spinks has a fantastic video on that, which you should absolutely check out after this. And it's exactly the makeover that the Trump Cafe needed to achieve its final form as Trump Burger. See, around 2016, Eddie and Sue had met Biani at a different restaurant in Houston, and Biani had asked him for a job. Vaccine fraud aside, helping people get jobs was allegedly something that Eddie did all the time, and the two eventually became collaborators. During the time that Eddie and Sue had stepped away, Biani had become Trump Burger's newest avatar, rebranding the restaurant with that tough, mean facade that definitely means you're very secure and have absolutely nothing to prove to anyone. At first, this wasn't an issue for the Hawas. They got to step out of the spotlight, and Biani expanded the restaurant into 3 other locations. But cracks in that facade started to form, and these idiots learned the price of working with others who also make worshipping a con man their entire personality. Biani, Ablahawa, and every goddamn Trump burger in the state of Texas has been dick-slapped with lawsuits, including, but not limited to, a contested lease addendum, failure to pay rent, a baseless eviction, a bought but never transferred liquor license, breach of contract, false representations, and commandeering business operations. I'm pretty sure that last one is just legalese for Roland Biani as a giant douche. Trump Burger's Keemah location, you know, the one with booze and a dance floor and everything, sued their landlord Archie Patterson for breaching their contract and forcing Trump Burger off of the premises. Patterson countersued and claimed that Trump Burger owed him $40K for utilities, beverage and payroll taxes, houses and property repairs. He also mentioned a grease buildup that was visibly leaking and pooling on the roof. God, I would give anything to see Gordon Ramsay stick his fingers into every corner of Trump Burger. But my good bitches, the tea is about to get even hotter. When Eddie and Sue let Biani take over, they somehow didn't expect that a narcissist, who makes worshiping a narcissist his entire personality, would take all of the credit for creating Trump Burger. Meanwhile, the Hawa's names were only increasingly becoming more associated with these piling lawsuits. And this is where, I can't believe I'm saying this, our plucky landlord comes in and drops a hell of a reveal during a phone call. And as you all know, we gays love a reveal. Biani was currently in ICE custody for immigration issues and had the documentation to prove it. And a spokesperson for ICE confirmed that he had been arrested in May and was currently out on bond while his proceedings continue into November. And Sue Hawa said, quote, "I'm doing my best to put him in jail. We don't need these people in our country like this." So, between that and the awful food, the future of Trump Burger remains uncertain. The cease and desist from Senpai only ended up affecting the Kima location, which was renamed to MAGA Burger USA and is currently under new ownership. And, of course, the entire internet is having an absolute field day with the sheer amount of irony in this case, myself included. The immigrant Trump voters who are currently being detained or deported, most of them are not like Biani, and most of them are not interested in gargling the seed of the oligarchy. They're just average people trying their best to survive in a country that's increasingly harder to do so every goddamn day. I've seen a lot of smug liberals on social media who are actually reporting them to ICE themselves. Please explain to me, like I'm 5, how that is going to help anybody or anything. I would rather form class solidarity with a regretful Trump voter than one of these sociopathic neoliberal ghouls any day. Yes, it sucks that we now have to live with the consequences of the stupid actions of millions of people. And believe me, I've gone back and forth on this issue a lot myself because I've felt extremely conflicted about it. Sometimes I feel like I'm contradicting myself because I have such conflicting feelings. Part of me wants to say, screw these people. They made their bed and now they can sleep in it. They all screwed us over. Why feel sorry for them? But the other part of me recognizes that they're still human beings and don't deserve to be, sent to a concentration camp. But there's a huge difference between average people just trying to do their best and a guy who owns 4 Trump-themed restaurants, all that focus more on gloating over their wins in November than making a quality burger to sell to the public. Biani didn't simply vote for Trump. He rode his dick like there was no tomorrow. His main goal with these restaurants was not to provide a quality product or provide quality service to the people keeping his businesses afloat. His goal was to collab with the president, like the way I collab with people who are actually cool. They're trying to function in a clout-based economy, and it's failing spectacularly. And now, the owner of a restaurant that's adorned with "Make Liberals Cry Again" flags is facing deportation under the rule of the senpai he wished would notice him. So, in this case, no, I do not feel an ounce of sympathy for this guy whatsoever, though I think his deportation is happening for all the wrong reasons. That square-ass chicken should be immediate grounds for deportation. Again, just to be clear, I do not support the deportation of Roland Biani or anyone under any circumstances. He is currently claiming that ICE is making up everything about him, which would not surprise me in the least, being the untidy group of fascists that they are who will recruit anyone with a pulse. And I'm not asking you to have sympathy for him because I don't either, but I don't want your takeaway from this to be that we should be quote-unquote celebrating Biani's possible deportation. And all jokes aside, no part of what's happening here is actually acceptable. acceptable at all. How do I wrap up this wacky little saga? It's not a cult, guys. It's definitely not a cult at all. No siree. This is very normal human behavior that does not need to be studied for science. But at least here you'd have a regular dude serving you a burger and not the big guy himself. Any hoodles, this was fun. Let's check out the winning comments from the last video. Rose Stewart 42 says, reminds me of that baby announcement that said 3 inches went in, 15 came out. That's unironically really funny though. The Harlequin Hatter says, the worst pregnancy shirts I saw when I was working at Disneyland. Her, Beauty and the Bump. Him, the beast behind the bump. Oh, I hate it. Lunestra Pup says, got the coral blue #2 high gloss lipstick. What an amazing reference. You too could be featured in the next video. Leave a comment below and I will pick my favorite ones and give you a shout out next time. But if you would like to guarantee that your name be featured at the end of every video, please consider joining my Patreon. If you join any of the membership tiers that are conveniently named after Fallout protagonists, your name will be featured at the end of every video. Also, I was at Midsummer Scream and somebody who recognized me said that she liked the Fallout references on my Patreon, so, you know, confirmed banger idea, right? You might get a lot of other cool stuff like access to my Discord, behind the scenes content on how I make my wigs, ad-free and uncensored versions of my videos. So if you love my content and my drag, you can support this channel directly by clicking the link to my Patreon in the description box. If you would like to see me simp for my favorite game characters and get visibly frustrated in real time, please follow me on Twitch. And if you'd like to see even more of my clown mug elsewhere, please consider following me on Instagram or Threads or Blue Sky. My handle for all of the above is @QueenCokeFrancis. If you enjoyed this video and you haven't done so already, please add a drive-through to your latest burger restaurant location, and when a customer rolls up to the window to pay for their mediocre burger, give them their money's worth by going ahead and unzipping your pants and dick slapping those like and subscribe buttons as hard as you can. Thank you again to Pediastet for sponsoring this video, and thank you to all of my patrons and subscribers who keep this channel going. And of course, as always, until next time, I will at least wear the glasses for the howdy ho bit.